People who work in hospitals may not consider themselves to be in sales, since often there may be only one hospital in a town, and insurance policies may limit the options a patient may have to shop around. But we can learn from those in business regarding our words and tone of voice. This is also, I believe, a musical matter. Communication experts say that in sales, body language and tone of voice are more important than the words that are said, although as an old English teacher and writer I would disagree. If a TV news announcer looks good and has a pleasant voice, yet has a less than competent writer, or might even mispronounce words, chances are the sales department at the station will have words of their own to say. Being a modern man, I was present in the delivery room for the birth of all 6 of my children. I only remember 2 of the OB nurses, however. One had a very flat tone of voice, mispronounced words, and spoke to my wife about me as if I were not even in the room. The other spoke harshly to my wife and me about simple matters. To me she said, "You, stand there!" And to my wife, "Breathe, or I won't call the doctor." This was our 4th child, and she knew it, so we had been through it all before. This nurse had the right words and the right body language, yet she is remembered less than fondly for her angry tone of voice. Doctors and nurses are often remembered more for their bedside manner than for the treatment they provide. Their voices have a music to them, rising and falling like a melody with a pleasing timbre and appropriate dynamic level and rhythmical pacing, speaking neither so fast that their words are lost, nor so slowly that they come off as patronizing. There are times, however, when a faster tempo of speaking is called for. When dealing with a patient in distress, you might speak faster to match their tension level, and then gradually slow your tempo to bring them to a calmer state. We already know that faster music can raise our pulse rates and slower music lower them. This matching of tempo to a patient's mental and physical state refers to the ISO principle, a means to an end of making the patient more aware of his state of being and even being able to remember past events. This process is also sometimes called attunement. The ISO principle is also called entrainment. We can see the use of entrainment in the military, where troops are put through drills marching in rhythmic unison. This entrainment exercise inculcates discipline and unity. To hear a military cadence, pause here and go to the link titled Army Infantry Marching Cadence. All this marching is fine and good for the military, but what does entrainment, attunement, and the ISO principle have to do with this course, Music as a Therapy? Without going too deep into the subject, more appropriate to a course in actual music therapy, pause now and go to the link titled Entrainment Study and scroll down to read sections 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. According to the website for Sound Feelings, and I quote, "The entrainment process is quite evident in music. It is possible to have rhythmic entrainment, melodic entrainment, and dynamic entrainment. Entrainment music has the potential to 1. Resonate with the listener's feelings, 2. Transform negativity into positivity, and 3. Promote a state of liveliness or serenity. Certain sounds in specific sequence can help bring the listener from one place to another. This process is also known as the ISO principle. To listen to samples of actual entrainment music by Sound Feelings, pause and go to the link called Entrainment Music. Notice how these samples all use the piano. The percussive nature of this instrument is helpful in producing rhythmic entrainment. The piano, however, is not a very portable instrument. For this reason, music therapists are taught as part of their college curriculum to play the guitar, a portable instrument. The guitar in this slide is a classical guitar. Its strings are made of nylon and produce a softer tone than a folk guitar's metal strings. As I was preparing to teach this course, I visited a large bookstore and asked if they had any books on music therapy. The clerk left and came back in a few minutes with the book Sound Medicine, The Complete Guide to Healing with the Human Voice by Wayne Perry, complete with a free audio CD. Mr. Perry is big on toning. What I thought would be an excellent resource turned out for me to be a difficult book to understand. Perhaps Mr. Perry is on to something, but he didn't get it through to me. If any of you would like to borrow the book, I would be glad to lend it to you. For further information on toning, see our text, The Mozart Effect, especially pages 90 and following. Toning might be an interesting final project for one of you. Finally, this week, I'd like to talk about the use of music in treating depression, a disease that has only been coming out of the darkness in the last 2 decades. Medication and psychotherapy, or talk therapy, are the first lines of treatment for depression, but other therapies are also used, music therapy among them. As this lecture comes to an end, go to the course homepage and read the Cochrane study concerning depression and music therapy, and also the New York Times article on using music to lift depression's veil.